The way that I work solo, like I said, it's a multi-layered thing, and I'm very conscious of keeping some of those elements, those sounds. And so as far as working as the orchestra, I knew it wouldn't be a good idea to construct, these sounds and record them myself, and then just take the entire orchestra and just plaster it on top. So it'd be kind of two different realities, because at least the way that I recorded it, I record each sound bit by bit, like sound by sound or section by section. So that's how I recorded the orchestra. It was section by section, violin ones, violin twos, violas, double bass and woodwinds and brass. So that's how I approached it. I approached it in a segmented kind of way, because that's the way I approached the recording of my sounds. But as far as the approach overall, what I would do is I would create sketches using my loops. I don't use MIDI to create music because it's too cold. You can't get a feeling for it. I find the need to play the music and see if it resonates with me somehow. So I'll make these sketches with my toys here, and then once I find something that I feel like resonates enough and has enough meaning that can be orchestrated, then I'll record it. I'll record the sketch into Pro Tools or Logic and orchestrate it. And that's kind of the way I work. So I had it pretty much mapped out before approaching the orchestra, and then I went to the studio and just had them go in one at a time, and or group or section at a time, and go for it. It's funny. I mean, I'll say this: my way of working sonically and aesthetically has a lot to do with polarity. I like polarity. I think the only way positive can move forward is for negative to move forward at the same time underneath it. So that yin and yang just gives so much of a wider spectrum, and that's why I like the title of the record, Central Market. And I like alluding to potential ways of defining it. On one hand, Central Market, I was actively referencing the opening scene in Petrushka by Stravinsky, the Shrovetide Fair. Whimsical land in St. Petersburg, dancers coming in the scene, and puppets come to life and start dancing. Sounds great. And then on the other side, with what we've all been going through, when the word market comes up these days, I don't think of a store. I think of the global economy, and I just like that play on fantasy based and from fantasy to reality. And I mean, when we think of market right now, we think of it's almost like on the Wagnerian scale of financial of catastrophe, in this case financial collapse throughout the world. And both of those subjects in tandem, I think, create an interesting kind of picture. And musically, I think it's interesting. The song or the piece, the very first piece, Opening Bell, could be the opening bell of, like, you open the door in the market and the bell rings, and it's like a little candy shop, or the opening bell of the stock market in the beginning, dong, 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 and then it just slowly turns from naive and optimistic to cynical and dark.